When looking to get high-value trades in lane, you'll want to make sure that you position yourself well for every type of engagement. Throughout the laning phase, you should always be thinking about what your goals are. Do you want to farm? Do you want to trade? Can you go for an all-in? These are the questions you should be asking. You should be thinking about these things before positioning yourself to best achieve your objective. If you know your opponent has an advantage, you should be in the farming position. The farming position is a passive position where you stand behind your creeps, keeping the minions between you and your opponent at all times. This position is useful if your opponent has an early item advantage, if you're at low health, or if your opponent naturally has a stronger early game like Riven or Fiora. The good thing about the farming position is that you're standing behind your minions, so you have defenses against most skill shots. If you know that you have an advantage over your opponent, you should be in the fighting position. To be in the fighting position, you should position yourself aggressively on either side of the minion wave, giving you a good angle for harassing with skill shots and forcing the enemy to either fight you or lose CS. If you're at a serious disadvantage and you want to remain in lane, you should look to be in the defensive position. The defensive position is similar to the farming position insofar as you'll want to stand behind your creep wave. However, with the defensive position, you'll want to also be aware of your opponent's all-in zone. In this example, Jax has an item advantage on Irelia. In order to not risk dying to Jax in a potential all-in, Irelia positions herself defensively by playing around Jax's Q, which is his main engage. Always know your opponent's all-in potential and play around their zone when in a defensive position. Proper bush positioning is also very important. If you have an advantage in lane and are looking to zone your opponent, using the bush in bot lane or top lane can help create additional pressure. By entering the bush, your opponent will be forced to hug the river walls, which makes ganking more effective. In this example, Jax has a lead on Irelia and uses the bush to force Irelia away toward the river walls since she doesn't want to get all in by Jax. This gives Lee Sin a greater opportunity to gank since she's in a position closer to the jungle. Remember to always factor in minion aggro when positioning, and always factor in advantages that either you or your opponent has when looking to position yourself properly in lane. For more information on trading in lane, see our laning strategy series.